There's an issue with Mars that can be solved neither by science nor by any other means. They say Mars is a lifeless planet where life is naturally possible. Scientists have found ways to keep humans alive there using technology, but the new focal point of human hopes, this silent red planet, perhaps as other plans, a dangerous phenomenon exists here that has claimed the life of NASA's Opportunity rover. Welcome once again to Story Spark TV's videos, viewers. Before discussing this particular issue of Mars, we need to understand why we are risking everything and pinning our hopes on a barren planet 210 million kilometers away. As the scientists believe that the natural resources available on Earth for humans are gradually depleting. Glaciers are melting, rivers are drying up, and living near the equator is becoming increasingly difficult. According to estimates, even if we manage to control the greenhouse effect by the year 2100, a large portion of the world's glaciers will have melted, leading to a scarcity of fresh water. But besides all this, if our world faces a calamity like a dangerous pandemic, a global nuclear war, or an asteroid impact, there will be no other option to advance human civilization. And then, just as dinosaurs were wiped out from the world, humans could also face the same fate. To avoid this day, the search for a second home has been ongoing for many years, and this second home will not be on Earth but on Mars. Until then, we humans intend to establish a human colony on Mars, and perhaps we will succeed in fulfilling this dream. For this mission, scientists have chosen our neighboring planet, Mars, because Mars and Earth share many features. For example, the length of a day on Mars, called a sol, is approximately 24.6 hours, only 36 minutes longer than a day on Earth. Like Earth, Mars also experiences different seasons such as summers, winters, autumn, and spring. But these seasons are longer compared to Earth because a year on Mars is also longer. Just like Earth, ancient rivers, lakes, and traces of ice have been found on Mars. Additionally, Mars also has poles like Earth's north and south poles, and they are also covered in ice. Mountains, valleys, deserts, and volcanoes exist on both Earth and Mars. In fact, the largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons, is on Mars. And finally, though less in quantity, gravity and atmosphere are also found on Mars. Considering all these characteristics, Mars has been chosen for human colonization. Now, although Mars is an Earth-like planet, it is not entirely Earth. For example, traces of frozen water have been found there, but this water doesn't flow in liquid form in rivers and streams that can be simply taken out and used. Extracting this ice from the Martian soil and making it usable will also require various equipment. Similarly, the second most important thing for humans is oxygen, which makes up 20% of the air around us in Earth's atmosphere. In Mars's atmosphere, there is only 0.13% oxygen, and the remaining 99.87% is carbon dioxide. Advanced systems will be needed to produce oxygen there. And most importantly, the temperature on Mars is very cold even during the day, often dropping to minus 63 degrees Celsius, and it gets even colder at night. Strong protective suits and heat shelters will be required to protect the human body. And yes, even if everything else is available there, you cannot roam freely because Mars does not have its own strong magnetic field to protect humans from the sun's dangerous radiation. If protection from solar radiation is not ensured on Mars, it can lead to diseases like cancer. Now, to tackle all these issues, the scientific community has been working for many years. For example, NASA has a project named MOXIE to produce oxygen on Mars, which is working on creating oxygen from carbon dioxide on Mars. MOXIE will work by compressing and heating the CO2 gas to extract oxygen from it. This process will require electricity, which will be generated from solar panels. Similarly, to protect against the cold there, scientists have designed inflatable habitats and underground bases. The idea is to build these bases in the deserts or under the mountains of Mars. To protect against radiation, either bunkers will be made from Martian soil or specially designed heavy shielded suits and shelters will be prepared. Some people are suggesting that the caves on Mars can also be used. A solution for water on Mars also exists. As you know, ice is present beneath the surface of Mars. NASA and the European Space Agency are developing drilling and heating technology to extract water. This water will be used for drinking, farming, and oxygen production. Solutions for oxygen, water, radiation, and protection from the cold have been found, but one last thing is needed to keep a human colony alive: food. So let us tell you that the concept of controlled environment agriculture has also been prepared, meaning sealed greenhouses where air, water, and life will all be under artificial control. These experiments have been successfully conducted by NASA in Antarctica and the International Space Station. But there is one issue on Mars for which a solution has not yet been found, and that issue is the dust storms there. Mars's red and desolate face presents a silent, lifeless scene at first glance. Looking at the pictures, this planet seems like a peaceful and lifeless place. Deserts, rocks, and a slight whistling of the wind are spread everywhere, as if time has stopped here. But look at this video. Something is rising on the horizon of Mars, a terrifying wall. This is nothing but a scene of a storm on Mars, and it's no ordinary dust storm. The sublimation of dry ice, meaning frozen CO2 ice directly turning into gas, creates such strong winds that the most fearsome storms erupt on Mars. These storms don't engulf just a city or a continent-sized area, but the entire planet, and these superstorms emerge on Mars approximately every 3 years. The dust in these storms is so dense that sunlight doesn't reach the ground for months, and this is a major threat to human technology. Everything from solar panels to communication systems can fail. If humans want to establish a colony on Mars, they will have to face these storms. But the problem is that we still don't understand the real cause of these storms. Perhaps we have some idea about it, but if we couldn't stop these storms on Earth, what to say about Mars? Mars was not always a victim of dust storms. Once this planet was also lush green and full of life, with a dense atmosphere and flowing water. But over billions of years, Mars dried up, and its atmosphere gradually disappeared into space. Today, Mars's atmosphere is only 1% of what it is on Earth, which is almost negligible. But these dust storms don't occur just because Mars is dry. Scientists believe that there is a very big reason behind these storms: the temperature of Mars. When the atmosphere is dense, it blocks the sun's heat and also absorbs the heat from the ground. But because Mars's atmosphere is quite thin, if you stand there during the day, your feet will feel 23 degrees Celsius, while the temperature near your head will be freezing. This is because the atmosphere is too thin to absorb the ground's heat. This extreme temperature difference creates strong winds, and winds bring storm. On Earth, storms bring clouds with them, but on Mars, instead of clouds, there is dust. Once this dust gets into the air, due to low gravity, it doesn't return to the ground for months, causing a layer of dust to remain around Mars for not days but months. During dust storms, the wind speed on Mars can reach up to 160 kilometers per hour. Such strong winds on Earth can blow off the roofs of houses, uproot billboards and trees. But we are not in danger from the strong winds of Mars at all, because these winds have no force. For comparison, a 100 kilometers per h wind on Mars has only as much force as a 10 kilometers per h wind on Earth. And the reason for this is its thin atmosphere. We are not in danger from the strong winds there, but from the sunlight being blocked by these dust storms. Because so far, all the solutions to keep a human colony alive there revolve around solar power. And if we don't get solar power for many months, life there could come to a standstill. On January 24, 2004, NASA's Opportunity rover landed on Mars. Its mission was originally only for 90 days, but for the next 15 years it continued to conduct various experiments on the Martian surface. But one day, it encountered a very large dust storm. In 2018, NASA realized for the first time how dangerous the dust storms on Mars could be. During this time, the sunlight falling on Opportunity's solar panels decreased by up to 96%, and now its battery was also not charged. These pictures taken by Opportunity show how much sunlight was blocked by the dust clouds over 30 days. For a few months, Opportunity stayed in contact with NASA, but after that, it went into deep sleep mode. NASA tried to contact it for months, but there was no response. A year later, Opportunity's last message was received, which read, "My battery is low and it's getting dark." After that day, no signal was received from Opportunity. Hopefully, you will also like and share this video from StorySpark TV abundantly. Thank you very much for your loving comments, and see you in the next fantastic video.